So welcome. Here we are again looking at ITERS, and this time we're looking at item 9, talking with children. Now that might seem very straightforward. Obviously, as early years practitioners, that's our bread and butter. That's what we do all day, every day. We talk to children. But one of the things that we're concerned about when we're looking at the ITERS rating scale is how good is that talk with children? What quality are we providing in relation to our talking with children? So as you already know, the ITERS scale provides us with a 1 to 7 scale. And this short presentation will help us unpack, first of all, what is good practice when we're talking with children. In terms of the ITERS rating scale, what is considered inadequate or a number 1 on the scale? What is considered minimal or a number 3 on the scale? What is considered good practice when talking with children, which is a number 5, and what is considered excellent, and how can we be excellent in our talking and communication with children? And that is obviously a number 7. So on the rating scale 1 to 7, we will go through this scale now, and at the end of it, obviously you can think about your practice in your classroom and how you and your colleagues in the room that you work in talk with children, and what your rating scale is based on the information that we're going to be given here. So let's go ahead and look just at our first slide, which is just some good practice, sensible ideas in relation to talking with children. So first of all, my advice is to provide a language-rich environment. Now, what does that mean? What is a language-rich environment? Well, it's an environment in your early years settings where you use a lot of language. It's a language bath. There's language on the walls, there's labels, you use children's names, you provide lots of talk, there's songs and music and rhymes, and the environment is rich with language, books, for example. So that's my first piece of good, solid advice, is when you're looking for a high rating scale in terms of talking with children and really looking to deliver excellent practice, one of the things that you need to be thinking of is how rich is my language environment. My second piece of advice in relation to good practice when talking with children is to narrate the day. Narrate the day and narrate your routines with children. So now I'm going to pick you up and we're going to go over to the nappy table. I'm going to take off your trousers. Here we go. Leg 1, out you come. And your second leg, out you come. Well done. We've taken off our trousers. Narrate. Tell the children what's going on. Talk to the children. Obviously, as children become older and children start to develop language themselves and start to speak themselves, then it's really important that you engage the children as well, and it becomes a two-way process, not you just talking at the children and narrating. But certainly when the children are babies, that is good practice, that you narrate the day and you narrate your routines. Use children's names as you go through the day. When you're talking to children, when you're addressing children, use their names, use their actual names, use their real names in the same way that their parents call them, or their preferred names, not silly nicknames that the staff have, made up between themselves because they think it's funny, but use children's proper names in the way that they should be addressed often, so that children get used to hearing their name and responding to their name. Ask and answer questions. Oh, what time is it now? It's 10 o'clock. That means, who can tell me what that means? Who knows what happens at 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock in the frogs class is our snack time. Shall we start to put the tablecloths out for snack? Who's going to help me? Oh, Eve, I can see you're ready for your snack. Ask and answer questions. Use songs and rhymes as you're going through the day. Oh, you've taken your socks off. I can see your 5 little pigs. Do you know that rhyme? This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed at home. This little piggy had roast beef. And this little piggy had none. And this little piggy cried, wee, 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 wee. I can't find my way home. Throughout your day, find lots of opportunities to use songs and rhymes with children and fill the silence. Don't let the room be without talk. Fill the silence by talking to the children, chatting with them, telling them about things, doing rhymes with them. Even if they don't talk back yet, it's your responsibility as an early years practitioner to model language and to use it lots in the early years classroom. And definitely have fun with the children whilst using words. And I would say use proper words and names for things. Avoid baby talk. So I'll give you an example. I was in a early years setting the other day and I heard one of the practitioners say, duckies, duckies, where are the duckies? They're not called duckies, they're called ducks. Where are the ducks? Can you help me find the ducks? Shall we count the ducks? We use proper words and proper names for things and we avoid baby talk. You can use baby. You can use wordplay, but that's not the same as baby talk. Use proper words and proper names for things. So look, that's just some of my talking tips in terms of what's good practice when talking with children. Now and that really provides a foundation and an underscore for the standard for the ITERS rating scale. So let's dive in and let's look at what an inadequate classroom would be. This is a classroom that is not even meeting the minimum requirements in terms of talk. So this is what would characterize an inadequate classroom. Little or no talking to children. Staff talk mainly amongst themselves and rarely to children. Staff talk negatively to children. Demanding, harsh, critical, threatening tones, for example, might be used with the children. Stop that! Pick that up! Oh, how many times have I told you? Enough with the crying already. This kind of talk would be inadequate and is an example of staff talking negatively to children. So my third point here in the inadequate scale would be staff show no sensitivity to children's interest, engagement or mood. Staff continue talking with children who are not interested, or they interrupt children's play or their activity by talking. And finally, the fourth aspect of an inadequate environment when we're thinking about talking with children in the ITERS scale is as follows. Staff are generally not near children being talked to, and children do not easily attend to what is being said. Greetings are called from across the room. Good morning, come in. Or a quick comment by staff as they're walking past a child, for example, about the toy that the child's using. So those things would all be a level 1 on the rating scale. If those things are happening in your classroom, then your classroom is inadequate in relation to the standard talking to children. Okay, so let's skip ahead now and look at the minimal. What is required as the minimal when we're thinking about talking with children? So for minimal, we have 4 points, and we would want to see a moderate amount of talking to children throughout the day. For example, directions given to the whole group. That could be during circle time or snack time. Staff communicate things like lunch is ready, or it's nap time, or time to change nappies. Moderate amount of talking, but focused on direction or whole group, addressing the whole group rather than individual children. Staff communicate in generally a neutral or positive manner with no extreme unpleasantness or negativity. Okay, so that would be minimal, and number 3 on the scale. Staff sensitivity to children's interest, engagement, or mood. So some staff show that sensitivity. So for example, staff talk to children who are eager for interaction, speak gently to a tired child, shortening talking to a group of children as their attention decreases. So this is really about staff tuning in and knowing what children need and communicating in a way that is receptive to their mood and behaviour. Okay, and finally, staff sometimes talk with children in a playful way. So for example, they might use nonsense syllables with babies, teach finger play to toddlers, use rhymes, chants, etc. But that's sometimes. So those are the 4 criteria that would support minimal achievement of talking with children, and a setting that's showing those 4 things would be coming out on the ITERS rating scale at a 3. So let's move on and think about what a good setting, what a good early years classroom might look like. So here we have 3 points. The first one that we would be seeing if there was good interaction in terms of talking to children would be frequent, pleasant talking with children throughout the day, during both play and routines. So there would be no long periods where there's little or no talking to children. All children receive the same amount of interaction, and communication is often warm and playful. This would be a number 5, sorry, a good on the rating scale. Most talking to children is informal and not part of formal group time. So, for example, they talk to children as they play, during their routines, whilst holding the children, socialising, while they're showing the children something, not just at circle time or song time or story time. Okay? Staff's talk to children is usually responsive to a child's interest, engagement, or mood. So staff do not continue to talk to a group of children when they want to play. Their tone varies according to a child's need. Speaking softly to a child, it's time to sleep now. So close your eyes and we're going to have our sleepy, sleepy time. It's time to wake up. Or during active play, bouncing, 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 1, 2, 3, bouncing, 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 you're bouncing just like me. This is an example of good interaction, good talking with the children. It's playful, it's connected to what they're doing, it sparks their interest, it's using different tones. So those 3 parameters, frequent pleasant talking, most of the talking is informal and not part of formal group time, and talking is usually responsive to a child's interest. Those 3 things, in addition to the things that we looked at that would be minimal, these 3 things would support a good environment, and we're looking at a number 5 on the rating scale if you're achieving these things. Let's go ahead then and see what an excellent provision would include. So level 7. So obviously, in order to achieve level 7, you must achieve the minimal, you must achieve the good, and then there's these 2 additional criteria under the excellent rating of 7. So most talk with children is personalised with frequent one-to-one communications for children. Verbal play is used often with children throughout the day. Okay, and obviously if you're meeting only one of those and you've met all of the goods and all of the minimals, then you would be coming out at a number 6. And if you're meeting both of those, then you would be coming out at a number 7. So what you're able to do now, based on my little explanation here of the ITERS rating scale for item 9, which is talking with children, you're able to see what would be inadequate, which is a number 1 on the rating scale, what would be minimal, which would be a number 3 on the rating scale, what would be good, which is a number 5 on the rating scale, and of course if you met the minimal requirements, which as we said is a number 3, and you met half of the goods, say for example the first 2, then you would be coming out at a number 4. You would need to achieve all 3 of those in order to come out at a number 5. And your excellence would take you one of those to a 6 and both of those to a level 7. So have a think, have a reflect on what happens in your classroom, in your setting, in your early years provision, and think about whether what you provide in terms of talking with children, and not just you personally, but the team, is it inadequate, minimal, good, or excellent? And if it isn't excellent, what can you do to strive towards excellence?